that shit would probably feel so nice. When you're listening, your skin's glistening. It's like, yo, all these dope streamers gonna fucking get it in. Like, yo.
The same. Your melody changed. You're not being able to remember melodies. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the melody stayed the same afterwards, but it deviated from whatever the first melody was. Also, like, what was that in the very beginning where you started off with without doing a hook? Are you okay without doing a melody? What have I told you a bunch of times? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I know you're trying really hard. That was not nice. Sorry. But melodies, like, don't ever freaking do a hook without a melody, please. Okay? I don't want to yell at you. Okay? All right. Fine. Good. I like the hook. I like fellow humans. Let's learn who's greater. Is it humans or the Terminator? We did an AB rhyme, you nerd. What are you dying about? Oh, my inner conversation with myself. It's me and my coach and I. Dope to fucking chef's kiss. You're the freshest. That's what I need. So I need to fucking plant that seed. So when I get my brain in that position to be barring, soon they'll be scared and fucking scarred, kid. But no, they shouldn't be scarred. They're gonna love it. It doesn't have to be scarred. Take that last part away. They'll be loving it. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. My enemies, they melted the belt, it's been claimed. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. My enemies, I melt them, the belt, it's been claimed. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. My enemies, I melt them, yeah, the belt is claimed. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. My enemies melt, the belt, it's been claimed. I'm taking the belts, strap it around my waist. Now I vow to rock the crowd so great. They're gonna come back like it was crack. Yo, I rock it, can't stop me when I get on track. Yo, they asked the A-ball, but the A-ball has no answer. Now I vow to rock with Scorpios and Cancers. That's my water sign people all the way to the top. Yo, Brunswick, yo, trusted. Yo, sick rhymes I drop. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. Yeah, I melt my enemies, the belt has been claimed. Yo, I'm in the ring, about to spit flames. Yo, my enemies, I melt, the belt, it's been claimed. It's funny, this beat's actually to me, I kinda yummy. I like it, yeah, I flip a verse. Yo, I'm feeling taller than Big Bird. Yeah, I feel like now I could just bounce, hop on the track. You're not garbage like Oscar. Give me that fucking microphone. What are you doing? He's like, I just thought maybe you would be kind of new and something amazing. You had cookies, let me get the mic. I'm like, alright, but just remember that it's TowardsNight, baby. I'm the monster of this rap scene indeed. He's like, okay, but now it's fucking jars that I need. Give me more cookies, go around the fucking world. I'm like, I understand that fucking pain, that addiction that just hurls you into the spot where you can't stop. You like a lot of cookies and I got, yo, this mission to just keep rocking this beat. So I guess both of us are monsters that just gotta eat. Yes, I agree. Open Sesame Street indeed. Yo, spitting fire rhymes. I'm like, okay, give me the mic, it's mine. Hello.
Hello.
What's up? Hey, let me look here.
Chilling.
Up instead of looking.
It's been a lot of many hours. Too many to do math at this point.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
I wish there was an option where if you leave just for a little bit and you come back on, like Twitch gives you like the freaking whole time, because now it looks like you only been on for an hour and 11 minutes, but you've been on.
You do have a very tiny window to restart OBS and keep it. I've done it before. It's really short. Like, but I tried to do that, and OBS, like, you know, I even like control shift. I try to open up task manager and like kill the program and everything, and it was totally frozen. I'm lucky my computer didn't just crash all the way. So I saw that fateful gray text, LEVLHEAD is offline. I was like, I'm not though.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you can avoid that, then if you can really quickly restart OBS and get it to boot back up again. Because, you know, sometimes when you close OBS, or I don't know if this happens to you, you try to reopen it and it like says it's still running and you're just like,
yeah, right.
Waiting, like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyways, so we're talking TowardsNight. I don't have a lot of background information about you. All I know is what I've observed on stream, and like I know Sarah spends a lot of time in your chat, or I don't know, a lot relatively speaking, like probably more than I know she spends a lot of time in yours compared to a lot of other freestyle streamers, because it seems like you do it very consistently. I also have noticed that you have other instruments there. You also sing. I don't know what other kind of content you do, but I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Like I've
Mm.
kind of talked about the freestyle thing already, but tell us more about yourself as a streamer and like what you're doing out here.
Yeah, so I started out like since like I was a teen, just playing guitar and singing and making my own stuff. Never really like never really taught myself really. I took like some basic guitar lessons and then figured out how to record myself, so
Hmm.
that way I can just make stuff for myself. So I would program drum beats, then play the guitar part over it, come up with some kind of like keyboard part and mess with MIDI and just kind of make my own songs. But it was not rap at all. Like my influences were like Nirvana, Chili Peppers, then Depeche Mode, The Cure,
Hmm.
um, and eventually Nine Inch Nails was like a huge influence. So that's kind of where my background is. I was going down the Trent Reznor like one man band route of I want to make all the parts myself and then get
Yeah.
live musicians to play live with me. Um, but the thing is, like, I don't want to say I didn't take it seriously, but definitely didn't approach it the way I've been approaching freestyling or rapping in general.
Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
so it was more of a like a journal type, like, there's things that I had to like work through or whatever, and like they were
Right.
sad boy songs, um, or like
Yeah, I know a thing or two about
yeah,
that.
or like
um,
philosophical stuff or whatever. And
right.
then and Towards Night was actually like the name of the band that I wanted to to go under.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I started out with playing drums. I don't play other instruments. I have the opportunity to play like a flute, like a Native American flute, or like I've never played a handpan, and the guy who showed it to me said like I should definitely try it. I really like it. So, I could play other ones and I kind of like piano feels kind of more natural to me, but I haven't really officially learned anything. You started with guitar.
Yeah.
Uh, like, is there a story behind that? Like, did you have parents who supported you in that? Or like, I guess, what made you actually pick up the guitar and start doing it? And not just like, I'm gonna play guitar. You got a guitar clearly,
Yeah.
or had access to guitar, and then you actually learned it, how to play it. I don't know to what extent, because a lot of people just get a guitar and then
Yeah.
that's it.
It's funny. I just realized I haven't thought about this in years, but well, my father was a drummer, so there was always like
Oh,
he
cool.
had like a drum set, and he would mess around with some instruments or whatever. But then it was my brother who found like a guitar that was thrown out, like it was like
Oh shit.
ready to get tossed out, and it had like only a few strings on it. And he told me how
Sick.
to play "Mary Had a Little Lamb" on it. I was like, "That's cool," and I kept it. And then I got into Nirvana. Like
Fuck yeah, dude. That
I
makes
jumped,
it so much cool. That's so much cooler of an origin. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
the fucking the guitar that was gonna
yeah, it was
it
gonna
was
get tossed out.
going out. But yeah, they got rescued and started your musical journey, really, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was from Mary Had a Little Lamb to like learning "Come as You Are" once I got into Nirvana, to then like, oh, this is cool. Let me take some like basic lessons, and then like back then there was Cool Edit Pro and or what's it called now? Fruity Loops.
Yep.
It's called something different now, FL Studio, but it was Fruity Loops back then. So
Right.
like that combination was like, oh shit, I can make drum beats and record them and then sing over it. Like, but even before that, it was like I would have like two cassette, like the stereos with like the cassette. I'm really dating myself right now, but like with the double tape decks.
Fuck yeah.
And I would like
I love that shit because I like analog stuff.
yeah, I would
Like
record like a guitar part over one tape, then put it in the first deck, and then like take another tape and record my vocals over it. It would sound
tight.
like shit after like the third pass, but like that was
Yeah.
kind of like me learning how to multi-track record like
Yeah.
early on.
And you got to get those reps in. Like I taught audio engine or like design basic audio design classes and it's
Mhm.
all digital now. But regardless, you like one thing I always told people about just getting good levels is like you have to just do it a bunch. Like to figure out where that like mic distance is at and like
Mm.
all that stuff to get a feel for it. So that's really cool though. I like hearing about that component of. Do you have any of those tapes left that you know of?
I do have stuff that I had pulled off of because I had at some point I had gotten I went from like doing it from on a tape deck like a traditional like stereo tape deck to getting like a 4-track recorder which still used the cassette tape.
Yeah.
And then like
Huh.
and the funny thing about that shit was
Did it
that
have like four tapes in, or like is it double side because it's double sided or?
No, so the let me I'm gonna nerd out for a second, but like cassettes, right?
That's what I'm asking you to do because I
Yeah.
want
Okay.
to.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So like cassettes, like regular cassette tapes, right? The way that they work is that they actually have four tracks, right? On side A, there's a left and right track, and on
Uh-huh.
side B, there's a left and right track. But
Uh-huh.
we use them as like side A is stereo,
At
so
one
you're
at a
hearing it,
time. Yeah.
right? But an old school like four track recorder will utilize every single one of
Both
those four
sides.
tracks.
Sick.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you could have like
Sweet.
vocals on one track, guitar on another track, another lead guitar part on another track. So I
Hell
I
yeah.
use that, and the funny thing is that you know I started freestyling only like 2.5 years ago, but like back then I would improvise my stuff. Like I would come up with ideas by just jamming out and like recording one thing over another, and then going back and like trying to decipher that gibberish and trying to put words into it instead. But like
Yeah.
that's where my older earlier recordings were just like me getting stoned and then laying a guitar part down and then like singing along with it. But like sometimes it would be just gibberish, sometimes it would actually be words.
Yep.
uh, and then if I liked it enough, I'd go back and try to like make some sense out of it.
It could be gibberish, but it has like it has a melody.
Yeah,
Gibberish with a
exactly,
melody, or
exactly.
words that are like cool, but maybe you want to modify them, or
Yeah.
they were all good except for that one thing. And that's kind of what I've been doing a lot
Mm,
is like, but the time and energy required to go back is so much. I feel like I literally have been freestyling probably like months, right?
mm,
At like just like all the time. And I've done a little less lately, just for hours. And I do these multi-track recordings. I'll end up with like an hour of recordings every time. And then I have like 30 or more of those sessions. And so it's
yeah,
like just to look at one is like, and then I'm trying to pick individual lyrics from that. It's kind of like,
yeah,
I don't really know. I've
yeah,
gotten better at freestyling from it though, so
yeah. You've
that's
only been
good.
freestyling for a few months?
Well, no, I've been
Oh,
freestyling for longer than that. Like, but I've been doing it consistently for 3 or 4 months.
nice.
Um, but I used to do it. I've had multiple stages of freestyling and then stopping, and you
Cool.
know,
Yeah, I love your flow,
yeah.
man. Like
Thank you. I mean,
I mentioned
like,
when you rated in.
yeah. I mean, like, what I really appreciate about watching you is, and Sarah and I have talked about. It's funny because Sarah and I will nerd out about like freestyle shit.
Mm,
Like, we'll just be talking about like the different freestyle streamers and like what their strengths are. Um, and like, I admire your like dedication toward you kind of hinted at this that your dedication towards like improving yourself and doing the real hard work of like um actually trying to like follow I can't think of the right terms. It's like when you're playing drums, you have to learn rudiments, which isn't
yeah, yeah,
fun.
rudiments.
It's
Yeah,
fun to
yeah,
fuck around on the drums. It's fun to
right.
jam. It's
Yeah,
not fun to rudiment.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it just takes forever and it's monotonous. But like
yeah.
if you do it consistently, then when you are just playing,
Mm,
suddenly you're like way more talented. And like to me, I don't have that discipline that you have. Um and yeah, like I want it. Like I'm inspired by you. I haven't necessarily like try to get into it, but could you tell us more about that, like comparing it to in the past? How like
yeah.
you mentioned that you didn't do the other instruments to this like level or like the prior musical excursions that you were doing, you weren't taking it that seriously. So why freestyle? Like, is this the shit that you really like? Like, or what is it? I don't know. It's
So
time of life.
yeah, it's a few things. So I think like with like music that I was like singing and writing and kind of going that path. Like again, it was more of a way to express myself and more like therapeutic. um, and not something I pursued like that I ever thought could be a career. And so like when I first started, I would do like finger practices like as far as like building up calluses and stuff like that. But then
Yeah.
I got to a point where like instead of practicing, I would just write new songs, and I would write these songs, and I would just have like all these unfinished songs, and I didn't never really was disciplined. And it was more about like if I felt like playing, I would do it. So I never progressed the way that I could have or should have, I guess. And then it got to the point where like, life kind of got in the way. I got in a long relationship with somebody who was very much needed all of my time, and that took like
Mm,
years where like that was more of the focus than anything. I did go to
yeah.
audio engineering school with ideas of being an engineer, and I did that for a little bit until I got tired of working on other people's music. But then, you
Was
know,
that person supportive of your music, if you don't mind me asking? Or, like, were
I,
you did you do
no,
music around them?
yeah, I mean, and they were a fellow musician,
Oh, okay.
but like they were very. I mean, not to talk shit, but like they were very like. If I was in the studio with my best friend, who was a guy, like they'd be like jealous of that. Like it
Mm,
was very much of a possessive list of like, if you're not with me and we're not doing stuff together personally, like what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and
Interesting.
also the tumultuousness of the relationship didn't help. But anyway, after all that
Yeah.
finished, like, I you know I worked on music again, and then this is before Twitch. You know, all I knew to do was like put it up on Spotify and share it on Facebook, and it'd be like dead silence, and I'd be like, "Oh, this must suck," you know, like fuck this thing, like let me stop, you know. And then one day, you know, randomly I saw Harry Mack on YouTube, and I was like, "What the fuck is
Nice.
this?" And
Yeah.
you know, went down the whole Harry Mack rabbit hole.
Yep.
In his Discord, there used to be like this little thing between like you know, like people would pick a side between like peppers or ducks. Um,
Okay.
so and randomly one day started this thing where we'd go back and forth like typing like rap lyrics to each other, like
Yeah.
like fake battling, you know, like
Okay.
um and then one day I made one using like a the freestyle the thing from 8 Mile from the end of it, you know, against them, and I decided to record it. I was like, fuck it, let me take my phone out and record it. And
Uh-huh.
one of the guys loved it and made like a YouTube video out of it, and people like were loving it. And I got like great reviews from it. And I was like, wait, people like to hear me rap, because I used to rap along to music, but it wasn't rap wasn't my main genre.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, who the fuck's ever gonna want to hear me rap? You know, like I have a rock kid past. Like I felt like an imposter in that world. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, thanks to that community, I got inspired, and then started actually like practicing using something that Harry had taught. He had put out a video where he showed how to do the setup and punchline, which is like
Mhm.
you look at a word, you know, as a target word, like um, you know, caterpillar, and instead of like writing it in the first line, you set up like the rapping killer, blah blah blah, the caterpillar, you know, like that whole
Yeah.
setup a punchline thing. So I was like, all right, let me try that shit, and just started practicing. And the first few times were like painful, you know, like I don't know if you remember like ever first trying to freestyle and like trying to keep up with words, or you know, like if you've ever tried that, but it's like stressful as fuck because the music is still going on. And you're like,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
waiting. So it went from like practice, you know, doing that from like for half an hour before like my stomach would hurt, be like, I can't fucking do this. Then I would try it again a week later to like suddenly I was doing it every week. And then started streaming. I started putting them out on YouTube and getting good reception there. And then I started streaming on Twitch. And then one day, basically, it had reached 10 days in a row. And I was like, oh shit, this is a streak, like a 10-day streak at this point. And at that
Okay.
point, it had gotten so big that I was like, let me just not miss a day. Suddenly, 10 became a month, suddenly became 2 months, and became this
Uh-huh.
thing where like days where I'd wake up and I'd be like, I don't feel like doing this shit. Like, that like streak monster would be like, "You're not gonna let me die," you know, and it became this thing where just around that time, I would see all the shit come up on Instagram about how like motivation is fleeting, and if you really want to be consistent, it's about committing discipline. And I was like,
Yep.
"Oh, that makes sense." So
Yep.
I kind of locked myself into this, like you know, I
Definitely.
think today's like going to be my
And so what
682nd
how
in
many
a row.
days are you on?
682 as of today. Well, after this, I'm gonna do my 682nd. Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah,
That's fucking awesome.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure you've noticed the like progression since then. And like, how do you push through those times when the motivation is gone? Like, I'm sure there are times when you're really motivating, you're like,
yeah.
fuck yeah, like that was sick. I just, even if there was like one freestyle is really good, that can hype you up or
Mm,
whatever it is that's motivating you at the time. But
yeah.
then there's times where it's just like, it's not, you're not motivated. And this would apply to any creative endeavor or just probably life in general. Like, I
Mm.
guess it's just, I know the word is discipline, but like, can you elaborate on that more?
I think I think I think it's I think I have a stubbornness inside of me, so I flip
Yeah,
it into a good
I could
thing. You know?
see that.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
like in the way
competitive almost with yourself.
yeah, yeah. And that's the funny thing is that like when I was doing non-rap, it was just about expressing myself. The weird thing, which is so like not what my nature is, unless when I was young and I was playing basketball, is like when I started the freestyle thing, I kind of took on that hip hop like, you know, like competitiveness of like I want to be one of the best at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
became an athlete kind of thing, which is so weird and so different from how I used to approach music. It became a thing of like, let me take a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant perspective of like work your ass off, and then
Yep.
and always with the faraway intention of like building those that that fitness, that lyrical fitness, to then start
Yep.
making songs that like were about like important things and like deep issues. You know, where I feel like
Yep.
I haven't yet really gotten into that yet because I want to make sure I could do them justice.
Yeah, no,
But
it's interesting because like I think where a lot of times people struggle is like I mentioned strengths of different freestyle or just rappers in general. If you start by writing, which I kind of did, I guess to some. I mean, we started freestyling early on, but like it was always very jokingly.
mm,
And like since I played drums, something that comes natural to me is the flow part of it. And like freestyle, in my opinion, and experience, is where you get the flow and like the like really like catchy rhythms and like things that are really it's a feel. It's just like
mm,
really I don't really know how to describe it other than that. And if
yeah,
you can develop lyricism at the same time, especially off the top, like um then you can really make dynamic stuff. Combine
mm,
writing with that, like uh that's that's cool because I write for a living. Like I'm a journalist. I think you said I don't know if you didn't know that until today or whatever.
mm,
um, so I've been writing for a while, and that improved my freestyling. Like I hadn't been writing for like 4 or 5 years as a journalist. I hadn't freestyled that entire time. So when I
mm,
came back to it now, I did notice an improvement in my vocabulary skills.
yeah,
But like, yeah, like for me, flow is a strength that I have, I think, and everyone always compliments me on that specifically.
mm,
But like, I don't necessarily focus as much on like the lyricism or the technicalities of lyrics like what you're doing. Um, and like I try, I think about it, right? Like I think about the setup punchlines. I try to do double meanings. Usually if I do it, it's kind of like on accident, and that's really
mm.
crazy how that even happens.
Right, yeah,
But
totally,
like, but you're actually you're trying to get that the practice in to really be able to do it like on command, set up punchline, um, referring back to other things. What are some other things you mentioned set up punchlines? What are some other things that we could talk about that are like components of interesting lyricism within freestyling or rap in general? We have set up punchlines. I'll name another one. Easy double entendre,
yeah,
like a double meaning of a word. What else
mm,
could we talk about? I know there's
yeah,
more.
yeah. I mean, so I don't know if this answers it exactly, but like my approach was to take, and Harry Mack definitely was a model, right? Like I saw what
Yep.
he was doing, and I was like, I want to do what he's fucking doing. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
my own way of it. So I was like, I analyzed what he was doing. I was like, okay, he's good at taking words and fucking keeping up with them. So I have
Mhm.
an exercise where I have to just keep up with the words from Chad, or I even have
Yep.
like I have a random word generator that scrolls words, and I try to keep up with that. So that's more about being able to quickly react. So that's one component that I work on. Then
Yep.
there's a visual exercise where I pull up like videos of like a city walkthrough, or like I used to Google like Reddit random videos and try to do that. So like, because
Yeah.
when he would go out, he would they would give him words, but then he would also like rap about what's on their shirt and what's like around them. So I was like, okay, I got to be able to see stuff and then rap about that. So there's a visual exercise. There's a pattern exercise. So I do a thing where I go like 4 A patterns, which is like take a word and rhyme it 4 times. Inner rhymes, which is ABBA. So like rhyme. So see the target word, rhyme it, but then also do 2 rhymes in between it. Um, there's ABAB, which is like alternating
Like
rhymes. So res is
rhyme
a res.
schemes, would this fall under that?
Yeah,
Rhyme
exactly.
schemes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so rhyme schemes is another thing that I do. POV is which I've been trying to level up, which I think you came in during that. That's been
Yeah.
kicking my ass because I've been trying to take it. I've been doing it the whole time I've been practicing, but like I wanted to up it to be like, the whole time I've been doing it, I've been kind of just letting myself figure out how the story's gonna go, which is fun as fuck. But like
Yeah.
to take it to the next level, I've been trying to make myself like read the POV prompt and then immediately figure out
Yeah.
what it's gonna go, and then like go to it.
It's
So
improv. Like it's these are like classic improv skills. You could do either or, like, and having the ability to just go when you don't know
mhm,
is you have to have that to
yeah,
like be able to sometimes. make it work. But
Yeah.
yeah, that ability to think ahead like that, and you have to be having two streams of consciousness basically at once because you're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
stopping talking or
Right.
thinking or moving. So
Hmm.
yeah, like making your brain do that, keep it right here in your subconscious just enough. Don't forget it, but you have to
Yeah.
get there, and that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like being a dungeon master in D&D. I don't know if you've ever played D&D, but
I haven't, but I'm interested in it, and I kind of know about what a dungeon master has to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
yep. There's a similar thing because like your players are going to do whatever, and you have to
Mm,
figure out how to keep the story dynamic, and you may not have anything prepared. So
mm.
you have to be like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then this character's name is this, and they have this accent, and then you're just like, it's a flow freestyle sort of thing
Word.
as well. So
That's
I almost wonder if
impressive.
training that part of your brain through freestyle helps in other scenarios. I personally believe that it would.
Yeah, and I mean it's weird because like it's enhanced like other parts of my life. I decided, fuck this, I'm gonna stop sitting down and I want to get like
Thank
my
you, character.
stage legs ready. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me start standing up, and like the first time it was like the first few days was like after an hour I'd be like, this is fucking, it's too much, and then suddenly I went from that to doing like 12-hour streams, like standing up
Right.
the whole time. So like it's
That's
definitely
awesome.
enhanced like other. I mean, it's given me more confidence in like personal, life, and even memory. Because one of the other things that I do is
Right.
I have either myself or other people record like 6 random words for me, and then I listen to them, and then I got to memorize the 6 words and then put them in a
Such a good
freestyle. So
idea.
yeah, um,
Yeah, because I get stuck on words. I get stuck on. I'll be rapping the same words like during a freestyle session. Like I'll find myself I'm on a totally different beat flow whatever,
mm,
and then I'm halfway through this beat and I'm on this like four words that I rhymed in a row in the last one. I'm like, but my brain just went there. So I,
right.
is that part of why you do that, to keep
Um,
your like fresh words in your brain, or just to get better memory in general?
Better memory in general. Again, I got to give a shout out to Harry. He's kind of been like the inspiration. Even though I think I kind of went off and I did my own things with him, but like he
Yeah,
used to have a thing called. I mean, and and even with Omegle, he would do it. Where he would get 3 words from the people, and they wouldn't write it
yeah.
down for him. You know what I mean? Like he would specifically ask him, like, don't put them in chat sometimes. And he would just have to remember
Oh,
them.
I see.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes you'd get like a crowd where it'd be like you get 6 words, and I'd be like, all right, well, fuck this. I'm not gonna practice 3. Let me practice 6, so I'm ready to be able to do up to 6 words. So there was kind of to be able to like have somebody give me 6 words or a group give me 6 words and then go in on them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah,
It's
that was
interesting because I feel like I know that well I read a or I didn't read, I watched a video talking about like ADHD and like freestyling or just whatever in general. Like, I also have seen something recently about ADHD people having less working memory. Um,
mm,
and I almost wonder if, like, even if you have ADHD or other neurodivergencies, like, you can, work through it to some extent. Like, maybe it's harder, but
mm,
with this kind of thing in particular, it's like intensive training of your brain
yeah.
to have a better working memory. Like remember six words. Fuck, dude, I can't remember six words. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't, and I'm surprised that I could now because especially because I've been a pot smoker throughout my life. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's been a fucking challenge for sure,
yeah,
and like most of my freestyle journey until like maybe a few months ago, I would smoke up like right before getting on. So like,
yeah.
it
Did
was
you
definitely a
stop
challenge.
smoking
I stopped smoking just because I didn't
like
like.
all the way, or just
No, no, no. Like
before?
I don't think I would ever quit it. But like, so now I'll
Yeah,
smoke with like if my friend and I are hanging out or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, it's definitely a lot less. Like I don't have a stash at home. I've been tripping actually. I've
Okay,
shroomed and done streamed like a bunch of times. Like yesterday I
okay,
did it.
nice.
That's been
Yeah,
fun. But
I have a bunch of friends doing that right now, currently, like little bits or whatever, or
yeah.
not. Yeah. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The
Um,
and ultimately what helped with the memory thing is I just came up with a trick for how to do it. So one thing that Harry talked about, which I haven't done, and I don't think that's how my brain works, is like and other people have used this, is like he creates a space. So like if you give him like a bunch of words, he'll envision like a place and he'll like walk through it and be like, okay, as he's walking through that place, he's putting those objects along that route. That doesn't work for me. What I do
okay,
is if you give me 6 words, I'll break them up into 3 sets. So like
Mm,
I'll take them in sets of two, and I'll just couple them.
yeah.
And either they work really well together, or they're so weird together that it stands out in my memory. You know, like somebody gave me last time gave me ocean and luminous, so that was easy for me because I was like, the ocean is luminous if the moon's shining on it. You know, like they gave me so for example, it was ocean, luminous, um, um, mountain, sword. Shit, I forgot the other one, but like even though they didn't give me them in sets of three, they gave me
Uh-huh.
just 6 words in a row.
You were able to
My
group them.
yeah, that's been my technique is
I think that
go
would work more
two
for
two
me
two.
too. I
Yeah.
don't know. My brain does that. I think I'm trying to think of an example of ways that I remember. Oh, like okay, so sailing. If you're, if like I've done a little bit of sailing before,
Mm,
random, kind of randomly. Like I'm not like fucking sailor person. I'm in
mm.
Colorado, so um,
Right.
which the wind's all fucking weird here. It always changes. But like starboard port, how do you remember which one is left and right? And like
Mm.
left is 4 letters,
Oh, nice.
so
Nice.
that's
Yeah,
port.
yeah, yeah.
That's easy. And then I can remember starboard.
Nice.
Or I could say starboard's right because it has an R in it, left doesn't,
Yeah.
or shit like
Awesome.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Awesome.
that kind of makes sense to me is doing it. I mean, that's even different than what you're doing, but those types of cognitive like tools for memorization, figuring out
Yeah,
what works for you
yeah,
is, and it sounds like you did. You didn't try what Harry Mack did, and you're like, that doesn't work.
yeah.
You tried your own thing,
Mhm.
and I mean, Sarah has mentioned multiple times that you're creating your own. You're inspired by Harry Mack's, I guess, teachings, if you will, or his methods for learning how to freestyle or get better.
Yeah,
But you're taking that and like adapting it for what works for you,
right.
and that's pretty sick, honestly. Like,
Thank you, man.
and it seems like, yeah, I mean, what in that, on that note, like, what things have you sort of developed kind of independently, or as significant changes or adaptations to what you had come across when you were first starting to freestyle? Like, is there
I
anything
think
big that stands out?
I've been incorporating the stuff that I was doing before rapping, so I started forcing myself to do melodious hooks and sing and do hooks that are consistent, you know, so
Yeah.
it's more of like a song structure. Um,
Yeah, I've been doing that more lately actually as well.
Yeah, and then just like little segments that I just never seen Harry do. So like there's a segment where I do a debate between two topics. So I'll take both sides of the topic and go back and forth in a freestyle. So I'll have to argue both sides of it. So like there's been just like more different kind of segments that I just haven't seen him or like other freestylers do. Or like even the POV thing. Like I started. I mean, I don't think I've seen Harry do it or anybody else really do it, but interactive POVs I love. So that's a POV where it's not just me coming up with like the story, but I get the chat involved and they throw in stuff that gets applied to the story. So
But
there's like a
did you
bunch of like
find that somewhere? Like, did you hear, how did you come across that
the funny
method?
thing is, I think I didn't start it with my own. I think I'm a moderator in Thug Shell's channel,
Okay.
and there was a time when I was like there a lot, and I had to kind of pull back because I was starting to like neglect my stuff a little too much.
Yeah.
But when I was there hardcore, you know, I think it's an idea that came up once when I was in hers, and I was like, hey, why don't we do a POV where chat gives you the stuff? You know what I mean? So oh no, actually, from her and Harry, like I think it was by being a viewer and being like, I would love to have you do a POV where we give you like we get to be part of the story.
Right.
So that's the funny thing is, wow, I never realized that until now.
Hmm.
It didn't start as something that I was necessarily looking to do for myself. It was
But you
more of
were
like,
suggesting it.
yeah, it was more like, what would I want to do as a viewer? Like, what would be fun for me? You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh
Okay.
man, like freaking gestures.
A little thumbs up
Yeah,
appears.
I figured learn months afterwards because I would talk to my friends and be like, "What the fuck is that thumb up? Is just listening to us?" And apparently, Apple has a new thing where like if you do certain things like this, no, it's gonna take
What
forever.
the
Um,
fuck?
yeah,
Damn,
it
that's
does.
sick.
Yeah, like
It
so.
just made that out of nothing? There's no
Yeah,
life behind you?
it's a new thing, like a new Apple thing, like that they do like this, like freaking does hearts, like yeah. Anyway, but sorry. So if you see random thumbs, it's because my freaking thumb sticks out.
That's
randomly.
funny. Nice. Um, okay, yeah, no, that is really interesting then, that because that is your original concept then. And it's interesting because you do that, but I've been in Thug Shells and seems like for the most part she just like raps with chat the whole
Mhm.
time, which is super impressive, obviously, because
Yeah,
there'll be 200, 300 people now, like, and it's just bam, bam,
yeah,
and like hitting basically everyone every time. Like if
yeah,
missing one is more than understandable, but a
right,
lot of times it's not even missing one. You're just like, how
yeah,
do you
yeah,
keep going that
yeah.
fast?
She's a beast. Big love to Thug Shells.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's really cool that you came up with that. The POV thing, I think I kind of have done similar things. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm in a mood, like a lot of times it'll start from I kind of tend to act like erratic on stream or something. I don't know. Sometimes I just transition to like a crazy bit that I'm coming up with on the spot, which is a
Mhm.
freestyling sort of vibe, I guess, too.
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll do an actual freestyle. Like Sarah made a video recently of me because I was joking about like zombie deer basically,
nice.
and then I started like rapping and it was just a joke. But
Hmm.
yeah, like it's that takes a form and a structure where the whole thing is about that, and it
Yeah,
becomes something different than um it becomes something different than just letting the words flow out,
right, right.
which I think what that does lend itself towards is the sad boy shit or just getting your
Right.
feelings out in general, which isn't always the best to do on a live stream. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it is, but like also at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it's deeply personal. I haven't had any issue with doing it necessarily. We're kind of worried about it, but like,
Mm.
I don't want to be restricted in doing it. So I've
Yeah,
actually taken time off stream to just record and like basically yell at the microphone for however long.
that's good.
And I've gotten really good stuff from that, both as
Yeah,
like emotional expression, like feeling my
mhm.
feelings, and also actual like musical content
That's
that
dope. I
I've been
love
able to
that.
use.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, yeah. So I guess like you're 680, how many days?
682 will be today.
Damn, that is so
Yeah,
crazy. 682 days of freestyling
yeah,
and doing it with intention and like, you know, unique methods. I find this to be very fascinating. I guess I can't remember what I was going to ask. Now, working memory again. Yeah, I mean, oh, I okay. So I was going to ask. You said you're not sure yet. Like you're still trying to develop it so that you can do it justice to write those lyrics that you feel like are speaking towards maybe important issues or things that are important to you. When do you hit that point? Or do you maybe you don't know and it happens when it happens? I'm curious about that though, because it's 682 days. Like,
yeah, yeah.
how many days do you
I
need?
think, yeah, I think it's a great
Or is it,
question.
yeah,
I think I'm probably there already because I mean it happened already like one day randomly. So one of the other exercises that I do is free form, and that's where I ignore chat. I even have a command where it's like, "Yo, I'm going to zone out, so I'm not
that's
taking
like
any
my
words
main
from you."
thing that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like that was like it's still probably like my weakest of all of them because I learned so much on like give me words and I'll riff off of that.
Yeah.
So and the funny thing is that before freestyling, that's how I would write music. I would just like play the guitar and whatever I was thinking about.
Yep.
So during one of those exercises, I randomly, and it's not something I ever really talked about. Like I never rapped about it, but I randomly, like a few months ago, started freestyling about my father who passed away like over 20 years ago.
Damn.
Um, and it wasn't like the illest freestyle I've ever done, but it was pretty consistent. I even had a hook that I liked,
Yeah.
to the point where I put it out as a song. Like I put it out on Spotify, Apple
Oh hell
Music, and all
yeah.
that. So like that stuff has
Is your
started
name on
happening.
Spotify towards night?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um, so I put that out. So like that was the beginning of it. Recently tried to do a whole freestyle album over some beats that my friend made. Unfortunately, like there were just like freestyle. There were some beats throughout it that I just wasn't jiving with, so it became
Yeah.
kind of like a frustrating experience. So I decided to table it until this year. Oh
Hmm.
shit, this year, yeah. So funny thing is that this year, one of the plans is, especially these first 3 months, is I want to go back to writing because I didn't mention this. I started out as I would write poetry and I would write all the time, like
Yeah.
every day. You know, I would cut class in high school just to chill in the staircase. Like I'd find like a dead
Yeah.
staircase somewhere and like
And
write
that was,
poetry.
I would say that was a better use of your time than
Yeah,
being in class, honestly.
yeah, for sure, absolutely, yeah.
You know, like,
So
because you
so
really needed to know whatever the fuck they were teaching you that everybody totally remembers now.
right, exactly.
Yeah. No.
So I think so. Not I think definitely like these next 3 months, especially like I'm still gonna do my practice daily, but I'm cutting down on like the non-practice streams that I've been doing because I've been doing my practice daily, and then I do my non-practice streams 5 days of the week. So like there's only 2 days of the week that I stream only one day. Every other day, usually I stream twice. So I'm chopping that down, and I'm going to be focusing on writing. I want to put out a written album. I just want to actually, starting today, I'm forcing myself to like spend at least half an hour writing each day, and I think that's going to be
Fuck
helpful.
yeah, dude. You know what's cool about that is what I'm expecting. Well, have you written at all, like, in the this 682 days? Maybe here and there, or
So I was featured on three joints for my friend Ease the Engineer. Big love to Ease the Engineer. And it was kind of like it was funny because like the day that we recorded, I wrote my verses. Like right before we recorded them. So like
yeah,
and one of the albums that I had out was like like within like the first 6 months of me freestyling, I put out an album called Geometry of Love, and it was a hybrid where most of it was freestyle, but then there were parts that were just so horrible that I had to go in and punch in like new lines to write in. But that's the
mm,
extent of it. Like it's really weird because I went from I would have this thing where I'd be walking around and like lines would come to my head and I would type them out real quick, or I'd post them on Facebook and just be like, oh, maybe I'll do something with that later.
yep,
But I would be writing a lot more, and then once I got heavy into freestyle, that just like stopped almost abruptly. So
yeah.
I'm trying to get back to that. And I
It's
know
tough.
yeah,
Writing is tough. It's hard to
yeah,
finish it.
yeah,
So
and I
easy to
think
write like 4 bars and then like,
yeah, I think the approach I'm going to take now is going to borrow some stuff from what I've learned with freestyle and just do stream of consciousness and just write a bunch
yeah,
of shit and not worry about it being like amazing. Just let it go and write, and then there's so much to be said about like editing. Like so much of good writing, I think, is going back to the mass that you made and like sculpting it and giving it shape. So that's what I expect is going to happen. I hope and I foresee what will happen is that I'll do this thing of writing every single day, and that's going to help the freestyling because one weakness I think I have is double entendres and bars. Like I need to up that.
yeah,
So I think they're going to like feed each other because the freestyle is going to help me be more decisive about what I'm writing, and then
yep.
the writing is going to help me be more in depth with what I can do, expand my vocabulary, like all that stuff.
That's exactly what I was gonna say because I've experienced this before where like I was freestyling and like progressed with freestyling. I might even be in a similar place to you. I know I need to write
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't written raps in a while. I have a bunch of raps that I wrote a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've written two like full songs recently,
So
both of them about girls. Like,
nice.
yeah. And I don't know, the words just came out on those ones.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't help it. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could help it, but I was putting the effort in. But like, I've put the effort in on other shit, and like, I can't. It doesn't. I don't finish it. So like,
Mm,
um, but I noticed that like once I get to that point with freestyling, like if I write, whenever I come back to freestyling, or if I focus on a lot more writing, the freestyling improves a lot because like it's weird, like, and it
mhm.
goes back and forth. Like if you freestyle and progress at that, then you'll come to writing, and you feel like you're better at writing now.
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah.
hybrid of this is like the punch in stuff, like where
Mhm,
you're basically I don't it would be easiest if you had like a good engineer who's doing all of the like start stop recording tracks for
mhm.
you and
Yeah.
clipping things, and you basically just freestyle over shit for a long ass time and like hold bars and try to repeat bars, and like
Mm.
that's what a lot of are you familiar with this, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, actually,
Punch in writing?
surprisingly, Nas writes like that, which I had no idea. So like
Yeah, a lot of
my
rappers do.
yeah, like he like um yeah, like he'll freestyle another part, and go back and edit it and like all that stuff, like so yeah,
Yeah,
that's super
it makes
interesting.
sense to me because like when I freestyle, I'm on the flow. Like I know where to hit the beat. Like
Mm,
that, like I like the way I hit the flow on a freestyle. And if I
yeah,
write, I'm way better at vocabulary and
mm,
yeah, the intricacies of fucking the rhyme schemes and all that stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the flow isn't necessarily there, and it's really hard to bring those two together at the level that I can do them at separately.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So
Yeah, and then along those lines, like, and it's been kind of a bad habit, but it's so hard to stop it. Like, I kind of pulled away from the setup and punchline, and I've been doing this thing called off the cliff. That's what I call it, where it's like totally the opposite of setup and punchline, where like I'll spit a line with having no idea what the next line's going to be without having a rhyme ready, and it's like
yeah,
this exhilarating feeling because it's so dangerous because you like
that's kind of what
you
I do most of the
yeah
time. Yeah,
yeah
because I
you put
can't
yourself
really,
in the corner.
yeah.
Yeah, you put
And a
yourself
lot
in
of
this
times
corner
it's
where you
hard, yeah. And that's where I repeat words and shit because I'm like,
yeah.
or I
But
just you end up at a blah 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 whatever. But you
but
just
when you
keep
land
going.
it,
Don't take yourself
yeah,
seriously. That's big in this kind of
and
stuff, I think.
yeah, and I don't know if you feel the same. Like for me, like when you land it, it's like this rush. It's like it's like a
Oh,
drug. You know what I mean?
fuck.
It's like you know
Sometimes it's hard to keep rapping because you're just like, what just happened? Like,
yeah.
I fucked up my friend Zach so many times because he spits like 4 bars in a row, and like by the fourth one, I'm just like, oh, I'm losing my mind, and like he starts laughing or whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry that I fucked you up, but like that was so good.
Yeah,
Whether it's
yeah.
from me or like witnessing it live is insane. So I've also witnessed that like on yours and other streamers, other freestyle streamers too. Like when I'm watching, I'm just like, yes, fuck it. This is what it's all about right here.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I feel like if you're really truly interested in it and you've tried it and you know the difficulty of it, then like you can really connect and relate to that.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, that's what I like about the group that is on here,
Yeah.
which in the future would like to like do something like what I guess it's Freestyle Forum
Mm.
does. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Big
Uh,
Al.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever done that or familiar with it?
Um, so the funny thing is, and I feel bad about this, Big Al actually had asked me to like start that with him, and I had so much stuff
Oh,
on my plate. I still have so much on my plate that I was like,
yep,
I can't. So like I'm in that server, but I haven't been participating
yeah,
in it. But I know Throat Genji, Darwin, Big Al, and Johnny Jazz have been like kind of like the heads of that whole thing. And I
yep,
think that's what I'd like to do more of this year, like collaborate. But like these first 3 months of this year, like I'm dedicated to just locking myself down and working on material that I
yeah,
can record and put
and
out
that'll
there.
make
But
that collaboration so much sweeter.
yeah, and ciphers are like a whole different thing, which are like I love. Like I've gone into cipher with like my first in-person cipher was with Thug Shells in Canada. You know, like outside of a Harry Mack concert where we were waiting online. You know, and it's like such an exhilarating feeling, but it's like such a different thing because you don't have the whole song to go. You know what I mean? So like you you have to kind of work in a different way where like you got to make your bars count and then know when to stop. Know like know to go long enough and not go
Yep,
too long and all these other things you got to manage. And I've been doing
yeah.
that through a thing called Tien and Guess, which I'm spoiler. I'm going to be inviting you to season 3, which will
Of
start in
what?
April. So aside from my practice stream, I have a thing called Tien and Guests, where again, this was kind of inspired by Harry. Harry had, he used to have this thing called Happy Hour, where he would have like other streamers come on, or just like other guests that were musicians. He would have them come on, and he would talk with them a little bit and do one freestyle with them,
Okay,
and then also randomly pick somebody from the community to come on and give them words, and he would rap for them. So I kind of
okay,
took that and changed it and made it like a one person at a time thing. So like every episode is one specific person, and I do more than one freestyle for them. I do one based on words that they give me, another one
that
based
sounds
on
cool. Yeah,
yeah, another one based on a POV that they give me, and a third one based on them giving me continuous like prompts. So like usually holding stuff up, and I have to rap to that. And then
yeah,
they have a part where like they can perform. And then at the end, if they're a freestyler, we do a cipher together. Um,
okay,
so
yeah,
that's been where I've
hell
gotten
yeah,
like most of my cipher experience.
okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think I've only done ciphers with like my two homies that I've done it with in person, and like we're just, I don't think it's that hard. I'm guessing in this freestyle forum server where there's the beats playing, you can just do it in there,
Yeah,
like because it's playing in the server. You can just
yeah,
freestyle in there and it works.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, well then we're good
yeah,
to go. I mean,
yeah.
like I can either get the bot for my shit or I can use theirs. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. I haven't done it in theirs. I haven't done it in theirs. Though my only experience doing it in Discord was back when I was in Harry Mack's Discord before I got banned for getting into it with somebody
oh no.
who also got banned. But that's a whole other story.
Well,
But
shit
it was
happens.
yeah, it was kind of a shitty experience though, as far as like Cypher in there because like you'd go in there and like it'd be you and like a few people that are actually freestyling, and then some fucking guy would come in and like spit something that was obviously written and already done and like go off and then like take forever and then peace out and then like they'd leave and you'd be like it just like would kill the mood. So I have a feeling that they're a little more organized in the freestyle forum. So
Yeah.
um, so there's that. But then like if you don't have to answer right now, but if you're
Oh,
down
I'm
to come,
down for
yeah,
whatever. If you're
awesome.
inviting me to that shit, I'm
Hell yeah,
down. We
absolutely,
just got to
absolutely,
make sure that it works on a scheduled day for me or
of course,
whatever. I have two
yeah,
kids, so
yeah,
that's a thing. But like yeah, we'll figure it out for sure. Just stay in
awesome,
touch and send me,
awesome,
DM me or whatever.
for sure.
Um, fuck yeah. Well, this was super interesting. It's really awesome to talk to you. I love
Likewise.
talking about this with somebody who knows the shit. Like, because like a lot of people are freestyle appreciators, but really to like experience that and like to do it and the fact that you're really doing it very intentionally. You just seem very like highly intelligent. I don't know if you have like a
You too.
what's your background like besides this? Did you go to school for anything? I don't know, you said you skipped class to write poetry like
Yeah, yeah. I was so I mean, growing up, I was a bit of a nerd. I mean, but like a hybrid nerd, and also like I would get in trouble. So like I would come
yeah,
home with
same.
like straight, like A's and whatever, and then like bad shit for behavior and all
Yeah.
that stuff. At some point, I just got tired. Like I was in top class all the time, like and like all that shit. And I would go back and forth between like being really good at English or focusing more on math, and then
Yeah.
thing around high school, I was like, fuck this academic shit. I don't care about it anymore, like, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with my
It's
future. So
probably
I kind of,
boring for you, honestly, at that point.
it was a bit. And I think I just got tired of it. It wasn't like fulfilling
Stimulating.
to me anymore. And then I
Yeah.
think I kind of got lost for a little bit and just like, I worked at Barnes and Noble for a bit.
Everybody's got to get lost at
Yeah,
some point.
and
You're
then
gonna
and
get
then
lost. Yeah.
I went down the audio engineering path for two mainly because I was like, I'm tired of having to like
Oh,
ask my
cool.
friend if they could record me. You know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
can't I can't afford to fucking have them to pay them to record me. So I was like, I'm just gonna learn how to record myself, and maybe I could also make some money off of it, and that could be my profession. And then I did that for a few years, and I was like, I'm tired of like working on other people's stuff. Like especially
Audio
like if
engineering is
yeah,
yeah.
because you can't pick your clients, So sometimes you land
Yep.
a client that's like, "This is great, I love this," and other times you're like, when's this session gonna be over?" And not because it was bad, but you're just not feeling it.
Or you're
Um,
doing live sound and idiots are complaining and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
right,
And
right,
yeah, whatever it is, audio
yeah,
engineering is fun.
yeah, yeah,
I love the technical component of it because I'm
yeah.
like a techie person. But yeah, it sounds like we had a similar sort of thing going on. All of my friends were like not getting good grades in alt school and we were like smoking cigarettes together, but like I had like straight A's. So I was getting in trouble with them, but they were also like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, I
Mhm.
don't know, you guys. I don't know. I got pulled out of public school, so the teachers never got to tell me that I was going to be a failure like they did too. I'm sorry. I don't know. That's just a theory, but yeah. Like,
Yeah,
anyways, well, definitely get in touch with me. You said April.
yeah. April, I'm starting season 3. So it
Sick.
runs from
Season
April to the
3.
end of and usually so far, like my first season ended with a Christmas episode. Season finale was Stuck Shells. And then just recently, the season finale of series season 2 was with Mandy Prater. Um,
Sick.
so it's become this pattern, I guess, of having like Scorpio like queen streamers being like my Christmas season finale. So um,
Damn.
yeah, so we'll see who the season finale will be. I got to go look for a Scorpio queen streamer, I guess, for season
Wait,
3.
what's your sign?
Pisces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know your
How about you?
other big signs?
I used to, and I totally forgot them. I got
It's
to look
easy
them
to
up
forget
again.
them if you're not like a fucking astrology nerd, like
Yeah.
apparently I am now.
How about you?
I'm a Cancer, but I'm a
Nice.
Scorpio rising.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Tell the water signs.
Yep, that's real. All right, thank you, dude. It's
Thank you,
so nice
bro.
to talk
Thank
to
you.
you. We'll definitely, and we should
Likewise.
definitely freestyle sometime soon.
Hell yeah, absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right.
Thanks for having me on so
Yep.
much.
Thank you. Everybody go follow Towards Night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, bro. Bye.
Level head. I am level head.